The White House is in panic. They are in crisis. They are spiraling over the fact that we're starting to see the cracks in the Trump economy. And he inherited a very strong economy. Lots of problems, but a strong economy by the traditional metrics. And so it's obviously going to take a second to really see how his policies play out. We're not even close to seeing the full extent of how they play out. And Trump likes to delay the imposing of his policies every single 2 seconds. And so there's a lot yet to be known. But even just what he's done at this point led to the really bad job market data that we got. And so what does Trump do? Reverse course? No. Instead, it is to fire the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. A bonkers decision, saying I didn't like her numbers because she reported on the facts of the jobs market, and so I'm getting rid of her and putting in a loyalist. And I want to play that for you, and then some other things as well, including what I wish we could all process as one of the most insane Trump claims ever.
In many respects, we're seeing phenomenal numbers in terms of the business we do with other countries and the business we do within our own country. I mean, really phenomenal numbers. We'll be announcing a new statistician sometime over the next 3-4 days. We had no confidence. I mean, the numbers were ridiculous, what she announced, but that was just one negative number. All of the numbers seem to be great. And so we'll see how that comes out. And if you remember, just before the election, this woman came out with these phenomenal numbers on Biden's economy. Phenomenal numbers. And then right after the election, they announced that those numbers were wrong. And that's what they did the other day. So it's a scam, in my opinion. My opinion is it's just additional scam.
So he says it so confidently. I know we already talked about this, but just to really pound into your brain, he is saying that previously the Bureau of Labor Statistics gave us numbers before the election that looked really good for Biden's jobs market, and then after went, because they always do revisions since the beginning as they get more information in, and went, actually it was a lot worse than we thought. And he said that so confidently, you're like, oh wow, okay. But that's the opposite of what happened. We had a stronger jobs market by the numbers. And then a couple months before the election, right in a critical period for Kamala Harris, and based on her association with Biden, they did the revisions before the election that showed hundreds of thousands of fewer jobs than we previously thought for those months. Right at a time that would be politically so if Biden wanted to make this claim, or Kamala, still would be ridiculous. They're just doing math. That's all that's happening, and they're doing it fine. And they're always going to revise as they get more information. But if they wanted to, they would actually have the timeline to do it, which is right before the election, they corrected downwards. And that was bad for kind of, even though this is still a pretty strong jobs market. And so he's just lying about that. And he's doing something that is just such a quintessential thing for an authoritarian to do, which is you don't like the information coming out, you suppress the information. Jessica Tarlow said he's lying again. The revision happened 2 months before the election and actually helped him. He should just lean into his authoritarianism and own it. Also showing here the economy slowed and inflation rose more than predicted. And as we'll probably have independent agencies who can try to give us a fair sense, but as governmental agencies measure this, the worse it looks, the more Trump is going to make moves like this. He was posting last week's jobs report was rigged, just like the numbers prior to the presidential election were rigged. That's why in both cases there were massive record-setting revisions in favor of the radical left Democrats. It's not what happened. It's the opposite. Those big adjustments were made to cover up and level out the fake political numbers that were concocted in order to make a great Republican success look less stellar. I will pick an exceptional replacement. Thank you for attention to this matter. MAGA. Mike Nellis said, just to make sure I understand this, Trump is arguing that all the economic data he's been using for the last 6 to 7 months to say the economy's strong is suddenly being rigged by a Biden appointee. That's how effing stupid he thinks the American people are. That's the other thing. If he really thought that this individual were not credible, why has he been running around when, because he inherited a strong jobs market, he was going, look at these great numbers, they're awesome, from the same exact institution headed up by the same exact person? Arguing this is kind of dumb, Because you're not serious at all if you're actually thinking Trump is doing this because he doesn't think the person's credible. You know, as MAGA as you are, and I know, he's doing this because he wants to get better, however true or false they are, numbers for his own political purpose. I saw someone compare it to during COVID, he was going around saying, slow the testing down. We test so much, so we learn about all these cases, and then our case numbers look bad. That doesn't apply to death numbers, and those looked bad too. But he would say that the solution to our high cases in the United States was just not testing people as much, which is how you keep them safe, as opposed to protecting people more. Then Kevin Hassett, one of Trump's administration officials, was on Meet the Press trying to defend this.
President Trump himself was happy to accept the jobs numbers issued under McIntyre's leadership when the numbers were good. Take a listen to what he said in the past.
The numbers were much better, as you know, than projected by the media. In 3 months, we have created 350,000 jobs. Think of that. A lot of jobs are being created. That's what happened this morning. We saw the jobs.
So is the president prepared to fire anyone who reports data that he disagrees with?
No, absolutely not. The president wants his own people there so that when we see the numbers, they're more transparent and more reliable. And if there are...
Wait. You're telling me it's more transparent if he has, quote unquote, his own people? This is scary. I mean, it's just scary. Aaron Rupar said the administration's spin is transparent BS, though. Trump touted every jobs report and never made a fuss about firing anyone in the BLS until the facts hurt his feelings. You remember that whole... I don't want to say it's so cringe to bring this up, but the right wing used to always say the facts don't care about your feelings, you know? It's like they apply that to maybe an issue, like in their mind. Accepting trans people who flies in the face of the facts, like, doesn't care about you. Yeah, like, see? That's why I station myself at a public bathroom at least 3 times a week. It's just to check people's crotch. Because facts don't care about your feelings. Come here, see? Let me see. You got a penis? Come here. Come here. Facts don't care about your feelings. Come on, let me see. Come here, let me see. Facts don't care about your feelings, right? That was the justification for that. They would do that. Ben Shapiro would do that at a bathroom. No. But they would say that a lot. And now this is just making his feelings hurt, and that's why he is acting the way that he is. Here's more from Hassett.
Just to be very clear, does the administration have any evidence that it was rigged, as the president said? And will you be presenting that to the American public?
The evidence is that there have been a bunch of revisions that could appear to partisans. Oh, I mean, the revisions are hard evidence. For example,
they're not hard at all. Just so you know, that's not hard. Hard evidence would be like you find an email of someone saying we're going to fudge these down to make Trump look bad. What Kevin Hassett doesn't understand is that this is just I didn't even know I was going to say that since I just want to say Hassett.
There was a 818,000 revision making the Joe Biden job record a lot worse that came out after he withdrew from the presidential campaign. There have been a bunch of patterns that could make people wonder, and I think that
that was such a tricky little thing after he withdrew. So why would they do it right before the election? That wouldn't be good, Kevin. Let's see. There are some Republicans admitting things aren't as good as Trump's saying. This is Bacon. What's his name? Republican Congressman Don Bacon.
And so what we're seeing is basically a recession economy in Nebraska and Iowa right now. And tariff wars do not help.
No. Tariff wars do not help. Then Mice Touch said can't tax tips that don't exist. To a New York Post headline said that Las Vegas's tipped workers say their income has fallen by more than half as tourism plunges. So Trump's trade, do you know where we got a lot of tourism from? Canada for sure. I've heard a lot of specific stories about that. But I'm assuming also from Mexico. And a huge destination for Canadians was Las Vegas, which is it kind of, depending on where you are in Canada, I guess you could get there in not too much time, but they've stopped. They're punishing America, and it's harming Las Vegas. I saw someone post a video saying they'd never seen the lack of traffic like what they're experiencing, and And that's not good. That's not good at all. Oh, and, you combine the factors of foreign travelers being mad at the U.S. for what Trump's doing with trade, so they're not traveling. And then also people getting more and more uncertain about the economy, so going and spending a bunch of money in Las Vegas becomes less reasonable. But Stephen Miller disagrees.
Well, so first of all, we've never been in a stronger place economically than we are right now.
What? Never? That's crazy. While we continue through this, please do click the subscribe button, and then our SCOTUS, serial killer of the United States, also had this to say.
And I want to start with the Russia collusion story because I know you lived it as well. They also tried to spy on you. They wanted your emails, subpoenaed you as they left people really with their lives changed. Your reaction to what was released this week?
The Russia collusion hoax against President Trump remains the single greatest hoax and the greatest assault on our democracy in the history of this country. There's no comparison, there's no parallel to anything else. It was a coup. And I'm using that term literally. It was a coup to overthrow a democratically elected government, a coup carried out by the intelligence apparatus of this country, by the deep state.
So we've debunked those for now a couple weeks, those claims that they're trying to bring back up. But it is always, I make an extra effort, and I put a lot of effort into this today to not be screaming at you, because you get enough of that. You need a little lighter energy in a time like this. But I see clips like that, and I don't, I could make more serial killer jokes. I don't know what to give you, because it's the guy who supported the whole time the president who actually tried to overturn a free and fair election and lied about it, explicitly lied about it. And then he's trying to say the real coup attempt was, I don't even they would say Obama fabricating intelligence to hurt Trump after Trump was in power. Not true, but that's what they're claiming. And Christie, I haven't seen him forever. What the heck's been happening with the Christie?
What the hell happened to
Christie? And we're getting good at that. That's good. And he said that Trump's firing the BLS commissioner head, whatever the name is. I keep meaning to look it up. Because Trump's a petulant child was the word.
Still facing questions about the Epstein files. Let's talk about it with our political experts, Donna Brazile and Christie. And Chris, we just heard Eric Holder talking about it as well. Congress has gone into recess to try to avoid dealing with this issue. Is it going to go away?
No. And the reason it's not going to go away is because it's not a Democrat-driven issue. It's a MAGA-driven issue. And that's why it won't go away. I think the president could very well deflect if Democrats were...
And you know what? I'm realizing that the quote where he says that is minutes into that clip, and I don't want to wait. So we'll move forward. But thank you, Chris. I agree with what you said. Now, one other little thing I want to address. This is just mind-boggling that he keeps saying this. And I was playing this clip, and Cole said to me while I was prepping, why does no one just tell him, just explain to him why he should stop saying this? Because it's mathematically impossible. But his claim, it's even more blatant than the thing where he goes, we have $17 trillion invested in the United States. That's not anywhere. You can't prove that anywhere. But he's just kind of making up numbers. But at least you're like, I don't know, you get a real number, a couple trillion, and half of it was stuff that carried over from Biden. And then you say in another interview, and you're exaggerating, 3, 4, 5, 7, 17. This is just impossible. So it's technically possible, even though it's not plausible, that we could get that much money invested somehow. But it's not possible to do what he's saying. What he was saying he's gonna do. He's been saying he's gonna cut drug prices by this astronomical figure. Now he said they already cut drug prices. So now we can fact check this claim. See in your life. See if this claim is true. Ready?
Hill, heading into midterms, what do they need to do? What can they do to, hold?
Well, one of the things they're going to be talking about pretty soon are the tremendous drop in drug prices. We've cut drug prices by 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, 1,500%. I don't mean 50%. I mean 1,400, 1,500%.
We've cut drug prices by 1,500%. 1,500%. 500%. Okay? Please think with me. Think of a number, any number. Okay? Think of a number. Ready, go. Were you thinking of 5? That'd be funny if you were. Someone statistically in the audience is thinking of it. Now reduce that number. Let's do an even number, okay? Reduce that number. Let's do 6. Reduce that number by 50%. 3, right? 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Okay? Now, reduce it by 100%. Okay? 0. Now reduce it by 1,500%. Ron Filipkowski said, wait, my dad cut drug prices by 1,500%? And it's a photo of Don Jr. Someone else posted this in response to it, this GIF of Biden at the debate. What the hell? Did we beat Medicare? You're the sucker. You're the loser. James said it's not just that the math is nonsensical. It's that Trump hasn't actually cut drug prices yet at all. He's literally just sent letters to drug makers telling them to cut prices. Does he know that? And is he lying or is he deluded? We have no idea. I think he knows they haven't really reduced drug prices by a lot, but I don't think he knows that that is a mathematical. I guess it's not impossible if he found out a way to get drug companies to pay us for their drugs. Ben Ross did some math. If a drug costs $100, 1,500% of that is $1,500. 100 minus 1,500 equals negative 1,400, which would mean you now get paid $1,400 to receive the drug. I have a friend. He's a really successful guy, but he's really fat. He takes the fat shot. He takes the fat shot. Really big guy. Wow. But very successful, but very rotund. And he takes the fat shot. And he said, Mr. President, I need you to reduce the fat shot. And I said, wow, I reduced it by $1,500. You're now getting paid for Ozempic. That's just, in case you're not appreciating the way I worded that, that's how he worded it. He worded it that way in his story about his friend. I don't know what to make of it all, people. It's bonkers. Share your thoughts in the comments.